Okay, the next thing we're going to do is two-dimensional arrays. So public class 2D arrays example. All right, public static void main string args. At this point, we know how to create a one-dimensional array. Oh, that's the wrong place. There we go. And I'll call it my array. How about my 1D array, one-dimensional array? That equals new, and then let's just give a set of 5. All right, that's fine. And if we remember, a one-dimensional array is just a single column or a single row. That's all that it means. What about more dimensions? Well, it's actually not that bad. So 2 dimensions now, my 2D array equals new int, and we'll do it 5. Well, what does that mean? Nothing, because it's going to give a compile error. So let's save, and save in the same place as always. All right. It doesn't like us. Incompatible type. Int one-dimensional array cannot be converted to two-dimensional array. All right. So let's first understand what this means. This means this is a one-dimensional array of size 5. Well, what if we have this of, say, 5? In fact, let's actually make it even easier. Let's make it 3 by 3. Well, what is a 3 by 3 array? Well, if we look at it in Excel, a two-dimensional array, well, one-dimensional array is a row or a column. A two-dimensional array, or a continuous one, and mathematically infinite array, would be a plane. Well, a 3 by 3, well, if we have a one-dimensional array of 3, and then another one-dimensional array of 3, and put them together, then we have a tic-tac-toe board. 3 by 3. Oh, well, it's not that bad. It's simply 3 by 3. Okay, that's understandable. One thing to understand about two-dimensional arrays in Java is really when I say I have a three-dimensional array here, and I have 3 of them, it's as if I had one dimensional array of size 3, a one-dimensional array of size 3, and one-dimensional array of size 3. So when I have a 3 by 3, really I'm having 3 one-dimensional arrays of 3. Okay, how do I actually access this? Well, with a one-dimensional array, say my 1D array, I simply have a bracket here and say that equals 4. And then maybe 1D array, and have a bracket here, and that equals, say, 5. Well, with my two-dimensional array, it's very similar. I simply say my 2D array, bracket equals, say, 0. So in this case, I'm telling it where on the grid it is. So if we go back to Excel, then this is the 0, 0 cell, and this is the 0, 1 cell, and this is the 0, 2 cell. Let's go ahead and make this a little bit bigger for us. There we go. Now, let's see here. If this is 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 2, then this would be, 1, 0, and then this would be 2, 0, and then this would be 1, 1, and then this would be 2, 1, and this would be, 1, 2, and 2, 2. If you can visualize it, it's easier to understand. So this is a one-dimensional array, and this is a one-dimensional array, and this is a one-dimensional array. When you have 3 of those, you have a two-dimensional array made of one-dimensional arrays. Well, that's kind of neat. How do you print this out? Well, let's go ahead and I'm going to say, copy this and give it some values. So 0, 1, 0, 1, and then let's make this a 2, and 2. All right. So this 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 2 is the same as 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 2 right there. All right. Let's fill it up, and then we'll print it out. Okay, so instead of 0, 0, we want 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 2, and then 2, 0, 2, 1, and 2, 2. Why do we have all these values? It's because it is a 3 by 3 array. Simply because it's a two-dimensional array doesn't mean that we can't still index it at 0. So this one-dimensional array right here, that one right there, you would access it 0, 1, and 2. And the same thing with when you have an array of arrays, with a two-dimensional array, it's 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 2, 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 0, 2, 1, 2, 2. That's kind of boring, 0, 1, 2, 3, so let's add this as a 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So 9 values, 0 through 8. Okay, cool. So let's do this. Let's print out 4 int I equals 0. I is less than my 2D array dot length. Or in this case, I could just do 3. Either way works. And then I plus plus. All right, let's print out the array. So system out println my 2D array. What happens when I print that out? Compiles fine, and it says, oh, whoa, we have some weirdness going on. What in the world is this? Well, since I'm doing it 3 times, I printed my 2D array 3 times. Now, this looks like kind of gobbledygook. This part is a hash code, but really the best way to think about this is this part is like a memory address. And this I means it's an integer. So we have an integer at this address. And we have a one-dimensional array, we have two-dimensional array, so we have a two-dimensional array, so the 2 brackets right here, integer at this memory address. Oh, okay. So let's go ahead and print this out. So we're going to print this out. So printing it out, we get, ooh, notice these are different. Before, we had a two-dimensional array, and now we have a one-dimensional array. So this means we have a one-dimensional array. It's an integer at this memory address. One-dimensional array, integer at this address, and so forth. Oh. Well, it's a 3 by 3. So this, a two-dimensional array, this means we're looking at that. So let's go on and have a nested for loop. So for int j equals 0. Why did I choose j? Well, I is short for index. Then since we're using I, j is next. Okay, so ij. J is less than 3, and then j plus plus. All right, tap that over. Well, now that we're actually going to access each element, we have to have I and I. Uh-oh, if we do that, bad things happen. So we want I and j. Because, let's get this working. Oh, there we go. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It went through all the values. If after this first, if after each one-dimensional array is printed, we want to print the next one separately, we'll just have a carriage return. So this line of code, this inner for loop, will print out a single one-dimensional array. Then I'll have a carriage return, and then the I will go through and all 3 of the one-dimensional arrays. So yeah, that's kind of neat, except that 1, 0, 1, 2, okay, that's grouped together. 3, 4, 5, grouped together. 6, 7, 8. Oh, that's good. So now I'm going to get rid of the print line, and I'm going to add a space so they're not clumped right together. And let's run that. Oh, cool. So there's our two-dimensional array. It's been there the whole time, but now I'm able to print it well with my nested for loop. So I created all the initial values, and then I print it out. Now, I was initially created this, and this had the default values. Everything was turned to 0 at the beginning. But let's have another one. I'm going to say int two-dimensional array, and I'll say my 2D and second. Second equals new int, and then I'll do a could do a 4 by 4 if I wanted to do that. Or I could even do a 2 by 2, and that could be fun. And if I do that, that'll give me all default values of 0, and then I'd have to go through this TDM of each line setting a value, each cell in there. So what I'm going to do is do it like this. Well, all right, this is a two-dimensional array, so what we need are two one-dimensional arrays. Now this kind of looks really weird, but the brackets mean that's an array, and the brackets mean this is an array. So this array has two arrays inside it, which is fine. So let's actually reproduce what we have up here. So I'll do, start with 0, right? Yeah, so 0, 1, 2. Now let's give it different values, so, just so we're not confused. So let's start with 4, 5, 6, and then we will do 7, 8, 9. So what is this? This is a two-dimensional array with two one-dimensional arrays that each have 3 elements. Oh, that's cool. So here's a question. Is it like this or like this? Should we find out? All right. So I'm going to, in here, instead of my 2D array, I'm going to do my 2D second. And then, if it's like this, 2, then I will have that as a 2 right there. Okay. If it's that one, then that should be the 3, and that should be the 2. So it's going to compile no matter what, because it's all good syntax. So it's this one. And in fact, let's print this out. System out println my 2D second dot length. What is that going to print out? 2. It says that the size of this is 2. And is it? Oh yeah, it is 2. Well, it's definitely that one. And then I can do a similar thing again. There we go. And now I'm just for sake, I'm going to look at how big the first one is. What does this do? Well, my 2D second is all of this, and when I say the 0, I'm going to be looking at that particular one and seeing what the size of this one is. So my two-dimensional array has two one-dimensional arrays. So there we have this 2 here, and this particular array has the length of what? 3. So there we go. Neat, huh? So at this point, I could replace this right here with instead of having a 2, I can have that, and then I can have this here instead of the 3. So if I change it, in fact, if I add another one-dimensional array in here, let's see, let's do 10, 11, 12, then it will give me the right address. And since I can actually have different, these dimensional arrays could be different lengths, I'll just put an I in here, so I always have the right length. Okay, if this works, I'll print out 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And look at that. It did, in fact, do it. All right, that's it. Oh, well, let's review. All right, so this is a two-dimensional array. A two-dimensional array, there's as opposed to a one-dimensional array. A one-dimensional array is only a row or a column. And so if a one-dimensional array was of size 3, it'd just be like that. A 3 by 3 2D array is a table or a matrix. And that's right here. And how to set the values of a one-dimensional array, just give it the index. Two-dimensional array is the same thing, we just have multiple indexes. We can also declare and initialize at the same time. A 2D array is just every internal array, just have to set it with braces. And to print out a two-dimensional array, you have to use nested for loop. That's it.